Welcome to The Woolly Way, a podcast specifically for dairy shepherds. That is, folks wanting to raise sheep for the purpose of harvesting milk. We cover all the things pertaining to raising dairy sheep here, be it animal nutrition, housing, healthcare, lambing tips, cheese making, and even some butchery and fiber arts. After all, if you raise dairy sheep, you are going to have wool, and if your operation is successful, you'll eventually have surplus lambs to decide what to do with. Ethical animal husbandry is the focus here, as well as sustainable agriculture. We want to provide you with the information you need to start and continue your dairy sheep operation in the best way possible for you, your sheep, and this amazing world we live in. So grab a nice cup of sheep milk and let's dive in.
Editing Rachel here. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and remind you that the audio on this particular interview did not save the way I wanted it to, so I tried to edit it. I was losing my mind doing so, and so the audio was saved to where Elaine and I end up talking over each other a couple of times, so my apologies. I think I've resolved the issue. It won't happen again in future episodes, but I just wanted to let you know, if you absolutely can't handle how much we talk over each other in this episode, you can listen to it on iTunes and Spotify, and it should be better quality over there. But like I said in part one, I am changing my platform of recording and editing and getting some stuff in the works to where we will be getting you more content more consistently in 2026. So stay tuned for that. And until then, enjoy part 2 of my interview with Sheep and Simple Homestead.
Yeah, so I mean,
Right.
especially on a small homestead, you're not going to run into everything you could run into. So I started watching Sheepishly Me.
Sheepishly Me.
she's
Okay,
got a
I think I've
YouTube
seen
channel.
her videos too, yeah.
Sheepishly Me. Yeah. And when she started her YouTube channel, she was running into all sorts of things. And I'm like, well, she's going to lamb way more times than I am because she's got these huge groups of lambs.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, taking in pretty much everything I could run into, during lambing, and I was able to go in last year and flip a lamb over and like put my and I'm watching her video. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't know sheep were that cavernous inside, but you collected about your armpit inside of you, and you're apologizing to that poor thing the whole time. Yeah. So that's a good segue. So you had mentioned in our pre-recording conversation just your lack of veterinarian, and that's one thing where people will email me all the time with questions, and I'm like, I'm not a veterinarian. You're going to have to ask your local vet. And they're like, well, we don't have one actually. So can you talk a little bit about what sheep resources did you have when you started off, and how did you adjust to that? Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, there was no vet in the area. Our resources were scarce. There's no shearer in the area, so I had to learn to shear. Right. And so they had bad haircuts the first couple of years, but it got better. But vet wise, it was a lot of researching, looking up what could they have, what could it be, and taking that chance that if and you learn a lot from the homesteaders that have goats, because they all have these when they have kidding and season and all that, you learn a lot because they do the exact same thing, and there's way more people out there than sheep people. So it's that's where your learning comes in. You have to assist and feeling around for
I had
the
a
lamb
friend
and all that stuff.
Call me one time, and she was like, and she described the situation with her ewe, and I was like, you got to pull that lamb. And she's like, what do you mean pull? And I'm like, you need to go inside the ewe, find the lamb, and pull it out. And she was like, well, what is the lamb going to feel like? And I was like, well, when you get in, you'll feel something, and then you'll feel something else. And the something else is the lamb. And, I'm trying to explain this to her, but I was like, I can only prep you as much as I can. You're just going to have to do it. And she was like, okay, pray for me. I'm like, I'm praying, but go pull that lamb. So, afterwards she was like, I did it. That was like insane. And I was like, well, you have to, like, if you're going to have sheep, you just you just gotta do it. So, you know. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Everything turns into a learning experience.
Yeah.
And every experience is going to be
Uh-huh.
different. Even if you lose a
Mm-hmm.
ewe, take in as much as you can out of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I lost a ewe,
Mm-hmm.
had no idea what she had. Called a bunch of vets, they were too far. Um, I figured out that she had choke, um,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, she wasn't eating or anything, and like anything I was putting down her throat, like trying to drench her and stuff like that, uh, nothing was going through. So I'm like, started drooling and everything. I'm like, you know what? Let me massage your throat. Turns out everything I was giving her
Oh
pretty
gosh.
much
Oh gosh.
went down and killed her. She choked
Yeah.
out pretty much. Okay, so huge worst experience of my life. But
Uh-huh.
she was carrying kids.
Mm-hmm.
She was carrying lambs. So I took that experience. She was already dead. I'm like,
You did
well,
a
what if I had to
C-section
take
on
lambs
Elaine.
out? And I
You.
went and I, got a knife and I took those lambs
Oh my.
out on a
Yeah.
dead ewe,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when are you gonna
Yeah.
get that
So
experience?
were the lambs?
You might need it. You know,
Oh!
it was the saddest thing I had to go through. She was
Well, and I'm
carrying
assuming
two
they were
girls.
dead too.
And
They were too early. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
they were
But I
too
mean, yeah,
early. And
that's
they were
a
too
really
early.
good perspective of like when else are you going to
Yeah.
get that
So,
experience? So
but
if you have a ewe that's in labor and she's going to go, but then you have lambs that are viable, like that's a good weird skill to have in your toolbox to to save your stock. I mean, that's a really good point. That Want to know more about dairy sheep? Did you know that I write books on the topic? There is my big book, which is published by Sawdust Publishing and is available on my website or Amazon and sawdustpublishing.com. In this volume, The Guide to Homestead Dairy Sheep, you will find everything I wished I knew when I first started raising dairy sheep. I feature other dairy shepherds and go into detail on topics like different breeds for milking, parasite management, milk sharing with lambs, how to set your flock up for the best lambing and therefore milking season possible, and I briefly discuss digestion and nutrition of sheep. Since writing this book, folks have asked me questions about more nuanced topics, so I have begun writing ebooks that are topic specific that you can purchase on my website and receive as an instant download and print at your convenience. Currently, we have Bringing Your New Sheep Home, which explains in detail our step by step method of introducing new dairy sheep onto your homestead and getting them used to you as their shepherd. Since there are currently no dairy-specific hair breed sheep available, dairy shepherds will have to shear their sheep annually and then decide what to do with their wool. Wool has a lot of misconceptions surrounding it, and I want to help shepherds understand that it is a commodity and not a burden. So I wrote my other ebook, 5 Uses of Wool on the Homestead, which is designed to give you practical ideas on how to utilize this amazing product around your homestead the second you shear it off your sheep. The ebooks are only available on my website at whoopsiedaisyfarm.com. I had a situation where one of my best milkers was just getting parasites like there was no tomorrow, and it was like, okay, girl, you gotta get some resistance here because I don't want to cull you, but you're causing me a lot of stress every single year. And I went to this old herbal book, and there was this casual comment of feeding milk back to ewes when they were having health issues. And I had been making kefir at that point, and I left some kefir on the countertop, and I noticed that a bunch of gnats had gone in there, and there were gnat maggots, but the maggots all died. And I was like, okay, maggots are like intestinal worms, and they can't survive in kefir. So I wonder if I feed my ewe sheep milk kefir. So I drenched her with sheep milk kefir, and she was fine after that. And yeah, I mean, really weird doctor house, like you have to be some kind of medical investigator kind of thing, but it worked. And it was like, I don't know how many places I can talk about this, but good job, me. You have to think that out of the box with sheep because, like you said, I mean, even if you have veterinarians, like we have 3 vets in our area, none of them know anything about sheep. Like we took a ewe to one of our veterinarians, and I mean, she and I are both on our phones on Google researching what to do because she's like, I just don't have that much experience with sheep. They didn't train us in my college about this. We'd mostly studied cows. And, so it's been, I've only had good experiences with our vets because they will work with me and they're very, compassionate and understanding, but they're like, we're not in a high shepherding area. We just don't have the knowledge. We can order you medication, but I kind of have to go and be like, I think it's this. So look in that direction. And then let's get this kind of medication. So it's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And then you taught yourself how to shear. Is that right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I started with a machine, um, but the lanolin got caked up in it, and then I, researched more, and turns out you have to like send off your blades for sharpening, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna send out two blades for sharpening. That's gonna be like, so I went to manual shears and decided, and you know what, the girls liked it was easier on the girls, it did take more time, but compared to my
Well, and I
machine shearing,
actually
they like the
on
manual
Instagram,
shearing better.
an old shepherd
Oh,
showed the
and
difference between a sheep that had been electric sheared and then a sheep that had been manually sheared. And then he showed the difference in how the wool lays on the sheep. And he was explaining how blade shearing is somehow healthier for the ewe because it cuts the wool off differently. And so they're able to regulate their temperatures better in different climates if it's blade sheared versus if it's electrical sheared, the way the wool grows back in, he had this whole explanation. I was like, well, I need to go back and find it because it's really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, I did that till this year. This year is the first time I actually got them sheared because it was 6 of them, and my back's like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I decided this was the
So
year to get them
what do you
sheared.
do with the wool then after they're shearing? Okay.
Last year was the first time I actually took it
Yes.
to a wool
Fiber fair.
fair.
Fiber fair. I just went to one. I should know this.
Fiber fair. Fiber fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went and we dropped it off there with one of the fiber mills. I think it was one in Illinois. And yeah, beautiful. I got the dark wool done, which was a beautiful brown. And so now I'm waiting for my off season to figure out what I'm gonna do with it because I've been wanting to make myself a sweater or something.
Okay. From one fleece, or were there
See if we got
multiple
enough.
sheep?
I think I got like 13 skeins out of it or something. So
Wow, that's pretty good. And
from
what
one
genetics was
fleece.
that?
Yeah, was one from one. That was the
Okay. Yeah.
East Frisian.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe
fiber
it was
artists
East
don't
Frisian.
typically
Yeah,
love East
Frisian
Frisian because
genetics.
it's more of a strong, coarser fiber. But,
Oh.
I don't know if I would make a baby blanket out of it, but it makes the best socks, the best working gloves. I mean, if you want outdoor wear, I mean, I don't even like really wearing winter coats at this point. I just want to layer up with all my wools, and then I look like some kind of Ren Fair cosplayer because I have like my wool shawl as a scarf and the gloves and the gauntlets and nothing matches. It's not color coordinated, but it's all wool, and people are like,
Well, I mean, Michigan winters are harsh, so I'm like, hey man, if it's keeping them warm, I want some of that on me. Oh, there goes my light.
there you go. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm in Kentucky.
There.
It's south of Mason-Dixon Lane. So our winters are not harsh temperature-wise, but they fluctuate in temperature quite a bit. So, I mean, you can have a 20-degree day, and then 3 days later it's up in the 60s, and then we go back down to the teens, and then we'll be in the 50s for a few days. So it's very up and down. So it's not where I need the insulation from the temperature per se, but I found that if I wear wool, it helps my body adjust to those temperature fluctuations because, wool has properties where it can cool you down or heat you up. And so a lot of people are like, oh, we don't need wool in the South. Like it's not cold enough here for wool. But I'm like, well, I'd rather wear a wool sweater than like a plastic coat. because I'm actually warmer and healthier with the wool sweater than all the plastic synthetic fibers. So yeah, I'm excited for whatever you make with your fleeces. Yeah.
See,
Oh, yeah, if you
we'll
can
see
knit
what comes
socks,
out
you
of
can
it.
do a sweater. It's just
I've made socks,
there's
so I know
less
I could
shaping,
knit
there's just
now.
more of it. So
Yeah. So
okay.
we'll see. But it was a yearling fleece, so it was considerably
Yeah.
softer than probably
Yeah,
what
the
an
adult
adult fleece
coarser
would feel like. So
fleeces,
we'll see what comes out of it.
I have a pattern actually for a winter coat. So I'm in the process of spinning it. And at some point, years from now, I will finish the spinning and then we'll get to the knitting portion of it. But spinning went a lot faster before I had a toddler. So,
Hey guys, I just wanted to interrupt this real quick to give a shout out to our sponsor, the North American Dairy Sheep Association. NADSA is open to any sheep breed or cross used for milking. NADSA supports dairy shepherds and is elevating dairy standards in sheep in America. You can become a member by going to www.northamericadairysheep.org, or you can email the association at northamericadairsheep@gmail.com. I am so thankful to NADSA for sponsoring this podcast and helping me bring more resources to the dairy sheep community. Stay tuned for future podcast episodes where I talk to NADSA board members and the president about what NADSA is trying to accomplish in America for the dairy sheep community.
So at first I had run into this website about garlic and molasses for deworming. And I did that a couple years. But I've noticed that my girls have never had a problem with worms.
okay.
So I don't do it often anymore. If I see somebody with, runny poop or something, I'll give them a dose of it and be like, well, maybe this, but it usually goes away. Sometimes it's just like, putting them on fresh grass, get all that, extra moisture in the grass or whatever, and it just loosens their poop or whatever. But usually I just try to give them hay. I try to fill them up with hay first before they go onto the grass the first couple moments, like first couple days, and that way they're not getting as much, and it slowly adjusts them to the grass. But other than that, I've never had an issue with parasites. I mean, they're gonna have parasites.
Okay.
I'm just guessing they have healthy
Yeah,
loads of them because I've never
the
seen
people who are in the far north or who raise horses with their sheep seem to have less issues with the parasites than those of us who are further south and sadly do not own horses. I told my husband we need to get a horse for the sake of the sheep because that will help with parasite management. And he's like, yeah, nice try. So all right. So what so with the milk, are you just drinking it? Like is it all like that's just your drinkable milk for the year, or are you making cheese, or what else do you do with the milk?
So I've been looking into cheese presses because I've been wanting to dive into preserving cheeses because we are getting now we're actually getting extra milk now finally when some of these girls had ewes after ram lambs. But yeah, I make yogurt. I make 24-hour yogurt. We'll do farmer's cheese, ice cream. Everybody's favorite season is ice cream season. And so now I want to dive into the whole, hard cheeses. That way I can freeze some
Or
of
if you make a
those
manchego,
and
it
use
has
them
to
on
age for so many months that by
too.
the time it's done aging, it will be in the winter time too. Well, that's true.
I don't know if we'd let it.
I know.
Because cheese is. I'm already like debating on the ones that age of.
I know. I made a tom. I just started
months.
cheese
It's like,
making this year. So my
3
first was
months? I
a
gotta wait 3
tom.
months
And
for
with sheep tom, you can make it and eat it, or you can let it age for a little bit. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be good because I know if I let it age, it'll have better flavor. And it's in my little. I've got a wine cooler for my cheese cave, and like I walk by it every day, and I'm just like, be strong, be strong, be strong. Let it age, let it age. But, yeah, I have a friend who's gotten into cheese making with me, and she just made a sheep Wensleydale cheese, and she was like, "Oh, I was gonna make ice cream and freeze it for the off season, but now I have to make all this Wensleydale because it's so delicious. So it's basically like a cheddar cheese that you then make. So it's got that, just
Mhm.
that dense, pungent
Okay.
delight that is, a cheddar cheese. So, but yeah, cheese making is really intimidating for a lot of people, I think, because, we get caught up in the infrastructure of like a cheese press or a cheese cave or the cheese molds and stuff like that. But, I told myself, well, Ma Ingalls from Laura Ingalls Wilder, I mean, she just had a basket and a rock. So maybe we're just overcomplicating it. I don't know. These presses are nice, though. I will say I have a couple nice ones because, like, I was given a couple all of a sudden, which was very lovely. So they do help quite a bit. And so, yeah. Because I did. Someone gave me a little mold, and so I did try one time to like put a quart or a gallon jug of water on top of it to press it, and as the cheese settled, it got uneven, and so then the jar fell off and broke. And then I just had this huge mess everywhere to clean up. And so my husband came home from work and I'm practically in tears. And he's like, okay, don't do this again till you get like an official cheese prep. I will submit to you, love. Thank you. So, all right. Well,
yeah, I did that with farmer's cheese once. So I just put like a half gallon over it and put some press on it. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it becomes a mess sometimes because then the liquid
it's a learning
flows
experience.
out.
Like you said, you have to go through some bad experiences to figure out what. Yeah. So, all right. So what are your long-term goals? Like, how much do you want to grow your flock? What's your goals for milk production? Like, do you have any of those, or you're just riding this wonderful train of sheep cheese or sheep milk?
Well, pretty much, we keep it simple. I don't know how many more I can raise on an acre. Right now, my pasture went from raising 2 sheep and supplementing hay because it was so bad to I was able to raise last year 5 ewes and 11 lambs for till they were like 3 months. So yeah, the pasture's gotten really better, but I don't know how much more it can. I mean, that's why it's interesting to see that when you combine genetics, if they need less input, then maybe I can grow more of them with what I have. And that's the goal, really.
Yeah.
The goal is to see how long this pasture is going to take me, how many sheep I can keep. But of course, there are limits. So yeah, I do have to pass them along and just, that's what I like doing. I like just having the girls once they're trained and everything, and if they're in milk, just giving somebody else a chance and going, hey, you want to dive in? I've got a milker. She's ready to go. And
no,
here's your chance.
I don't sell a ton of ewes right now just because I'm like you, I've got the cross genetics, and so I'm trying to see who does best in our microclimate. And so I feel bad because I get questions every single spring, like, can I buy a ewe lamb or 5 from you? And I'm like, no, you can't, because I have to see who does better, because I've got Icelandic genes and Tunis genes and East Frisian genes and, all the genes. And so I'm getting an idea of where I want to go. But the benefit is when I do go to sell, like I sell mature ewes who have been milks, and I can give the new person kind of an idea, and it's not as hard for them to train them and get them into their routine. So, and that's been really gratifying because, the 2.5 times I've sold mature ewes to people, they're just so excited and happy. And like, we get an opportunity to do this. And, it's just it's always sad to see the sheep go, because, you've built kind of that relationship with them, but then it's really gratifying to see them go make someone else so happy. So, yeah.
You do, and you can pretty much keep track of them, because I like putting them on Instagram and be like, oh, so and so has one of my ewes.
Actually, some of our really good
and I get to
now
see how
we met because I sold them a crossbred ewe, and
they're in Florida, and the lady was like, hey, will you deliver? Because they're retired and, you know, don't get out much. And I was like, I don't deliver. Like, that is a hardline policy. I don't deliver milk. I don't deliver animals. It's not happening. It's like, no. And she goes, well, I am 20 minutes from Cocoa Beach, and I cook everything from scratch. And then, like, she just keeps like, she's like, I don't pay for your gas. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna bribe me, then sure, I guess I'll make an exception. We got down there, and they're just this lovely couple, and they watch my channel. So shout out to, you know who you are. And you know, they're some of our best friends now. Like, they've adopted my son as like their grandbaby, and it's just this awesome relationship. And the funny thing is, you know, now that ewes down there, she's kind of turned into a cantankerous, high maintenance grump, but that's okay. Like, we're still really good friends. Like, they've forgiven me for my grumpy ewe. So, or I did sell another ewe to someone in Tennessee, and they called me and they were like, she won't stay in our structure. You have to, like, do you want to take her back? Because we need to return this sheep. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So I went and got her. And now they are really good friends too, even though the sheep didn't work out. So it's just funny, like, when you work so hard on a small flock and like they're kind of your baby. So, I mean, you interrogate the potential buyers before they come take your baby, then you're just really good friends afterwards. So yeah, that is nice too. You can,
that works. And then you can
learn from
help
each other
along
afterwards. So, all right. Well, we're wrapping up, or we're coming to the end of our time, but what is one thing you would like to offer to the dairy sheep community as far as like a tip or knowledge or something?
Pretty much just find what works for you. There are so many options out there, and there's so many different ways of raising dairy sheep that you have to find what fits you and what fits your schedule. And it can be done on small acreage, and it can be done with low maintenance. So
yeah,
it
that's
takes
great
a while
advice,
to
'cause
get
I feel
there,
like right
but
now there's
once
so
you're there,
many
it's good.
zealots of this is the only way to do this, and it's just not true. Like, there's many ways to skin a cat. Sorry to my cat who's glaring at me right now. She's sitting behind the camera just like, how dare you say that?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I mean, farm sitters are also, you know, far and very scarce in between. So that's why our schedule has to revolve around what we do, because
right.
There's not that many farm sitters
We
out there that are gonna
pull our
milk
lambs till maybe the end of milking season for that reason. Because I travel quite a bit to do talks on dairy sheep, and it's like, we have a great farm sitter. I mean, he is really a good farm sitter, and I think we traumatized him this last time because our cows got out twice. But I mean, he was, yeah, like, he found them. He was on the spot. He found them. He was great, and you know, he will milk if we ask him to, but if we just are like, the calf and the lambs are on their mamas, you don't have to worry about anything, he's just like, oh, thank you, because it's hard work. Like, and he didn't sign up for the boot camp that we love making our life into. Easier. So all those listening, love your farm sitters, because they are worth their weight in gold. So, and then one final question. So you did mention this in the pre-show chat. So what is the thing you love most about your sheep? Because you mentioned the garden right before we hit record.
Oh yeah, they pretty much prep the garden for me, because their winter paddock is the garden, so that makes everything easier. Right. Because they make sure no weeds grow during the off season, right? It's ready to go in the spring. You know, I just throw some weed block and plant, and so everything works for us pretty much. Everything revolves around what we need. And
we have 2 barns on our property that came with the property. They were for farm equipment or hay, so not really for livestock, but we've made it work. And then we put pallet fencing around it, so there's a paddock. And then we've just fed hay the last couple of years, and someone was out visiting, and she saw the soil in the winter paddock, and she goes, you keep saying you're struggling with gardening because we're on heavy clay on a foothill of Appalachia, like not prime gardening at all. And she's like, just plant in your sheep paddock. Like, you've got 3 inches of topsoil right there. And it was like, oh, Shazam. Like, I can't, because that's where they go back if they're sick or whatever. But then it was like, maybe I need to make my garden area an overwintering spot, because that would solve several issues. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah. Oh, the garden has loved it. I have pictures of my garden during the season, and it's just like flourishing, and everything likes it. And you should do that. You should,
No, that's
like,
a good idea. Yeah,
just
I need to.
section off an
I haven't
area
really
and make
focused
it a
on
garden,
plants
you
the
know?
last few years, just because
It's gonna
my
be
husband has had to go more carnivore just for some health issues. But now we're getting to where we can add some like herbs and some plants back. So I'm looking around my property going, where do I do this? So yeah, I may just stick a cattle panel up in the sheep paddock and be like, girls, you can't come in here. This is more potatoes. So all right, Elaine, thank you so much for coming. Do you want to tell folks where they can find you and, look at your beautiful sheep udders on social media?
Okay. Social media. Pretty much, I'm on Instagram, Sheep and Simple Homestead.
Thanks so much for listening to the Woolly Way podcast. We hope you enjoyed our episode and have gleaned at least one tip you can implement in your flock right away. If you liked what you heard, please hit the subscribe button. And if you wouldn't mind, leave us a review. This helps others find our podcast so they can enjoy learning more about dairy sheep along with you. The Woolly Way podcast is a production of Whoopsie Daisy Farm. For updates and information about our show, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube and email list, and look us up at whoopsiedaisyfarm.com. Have a particular guest you'd like us to host or a topic you'd like us to cover? Fill out our contact form on our website or shoot us an email at whoopsiedaisyfarm@gmail.com. See you next time!